Massive headlines are currently rocking the British monarchy today. King Charles recently discovered a hidden clause within the late Queen's final testament. The monarch stated that he wished his own experience might offer hope to other families. This discovery could fundamentally alter how Princes Harry and William receive their inheritances. The public is currently buzzing with questions about what this confidential information might be and why it was concealed. What exactly did the late Queen choose to keep under wraps? Furthermore, why was she so determined that nobody should learn about it? Please stay with us as we reveal the truth behind the most debated legacy choices in recent royal times. This involves the sealed legal document that has ignited thousands of inquiries. Following Prince Philip's passing in April 2021, many expected to learn how he divided his assets and personal effects. The Queen's 97-year-old spouse is reportedly recovering well this morning following a collision while driving. Although his vehicle overturned, he managed to escape the accident without sustaining any critical injuries. However, contrary to expectations, no details regarding his estate were released to the public. A High Court judge ruled that Prince Philip's last will should remain sealed for a minimum of 90 years. This judicial decision established a precedent that would subsequently apply when Queen Elizabeth died 17 months later. The presiding judge argued that maintaining confidentiality was crucial to preserve the dignity of the royal institution. Yet, this ruling only served to make the general public even more curious. People began asking what exactly the family was attempting to keep from view. Why does the monarchy require such extreme privacy when the wills of ordinary citizens are public records? Some critics argued this secrecy was inappropriate for a family that receives vast sums of taxpayer funding annually. Royal testaments have been hidden from the public since the early 20th century when Queen Mary requested privacy. This practice has now become standard for high-ranking royals, making it difficult to track their wealth distribution. This opacity stands in stark contrast to the transparency usually expected from modern public figures. Legal analysts suggest these concealed documents might reveal awkward truths about wealth division and internal family rifts. Upon Queen Elizabeth's death, she possessed roughly $500 million in private assets, yet her distribution remains a mystery. Did the late monarch distribute her fortune equally among her 4 children? Or did she favor King Charles as the heir? It also remains unclear whether Prince Harry received any bequest after stepping down from his official duties. These pressing questions will likely remain unanswered for nearly a full century. While official testaments remain locked in safes, other inheritance structures have become public knowledge. Some of these financial revelations have surprised even the most dedicated followers of the monarchy. Immediately following Queen Elizabeth's passing, Prince William became one of the wealthiest individuals in the United Kingdom. He automatically inherited the Duchy of Cornwall, a massive estate valued at over $1 billion, previously held by his father. This ancient portfolio, which is nearly 700 years old, spans roughly 140,000 acres across Britain. The holdings include agricultural land, commercial real estate, woodlands, waterways, and even a famous cricket stadium. King Edward established this estate in 1337 specifically to provide independent income for the heir to the throne. A specific historical rule mandates that this land is always passed down to the monarch's eldest son. During his first complete year as the Duke of Cornwall, William generated over $30 million from the estate. This massive inheritance highlighted the staggering financial disparity between William and his younger brother, Harry. William now controls a billion-dollar property empire that yields tens of millions in personal profit annually. Conversely, Harry departed from royal service without any ongoing financial backing, as the duchy is reserved solely for the heir. Therefore, it was always a certainty that Harry would never receive a portion of that specific estate. I plan to bring my wife and kids back to Britain, but they will miss absolutely everything about their current life. The duchy operates much like a private corporation, yet it possesses unique privileges. Consequently, William is exempt from corporation tax, though he voluntarily pays income tax on the revenue. Critics argue this arrangement is unjust and suggest his vast wealth should benefit the wider population. Over the decades, various politicians have attempted to bring the duchy under state control, but every attempt has failed. Prince William has the freedom to utilize the estate's profits in whatever manner he chooses. While the public generally expects these funds to support charities, no legislation forces him to do so. His father, Charles, previously used the duchy income to support both his sons while they were working royals. This funding was meant to support the most talented and courageous individuals across all sectors of society. However, William has not confirmed if he will assist Harry financially now that their relationship is strained. When the Queen Mother died in 2002 at the age of 101, she left an estate worth roughly $120 million. Instead of splitting this money evenly among her great-grandchildren, she made a specific choice that caused long-term inequality. Author Christopher Anderson disclosed that she put 2/3 of her money into a trust fund for the princes. However, the distribution of these funds was intentionally unbalanced between the two brothers. The Queen Mother realized that William would eventually gain the Duchy of Cornwall, making him incredibly rich. She reasoned that Harry, being the younger sibling, would have fewer chances to accumulate his own fortune. That would be quite enjoyable because once you reside in a particular neighborhood, you adapt to it. Therefore, she designed the trust to grant Harry a bigger portion, roughly $8 million, compared to William's share. This arrangement was established decades before the severe falling out occurred between Harry and his relatives. She could not have predicted that Harry would marry Meghan Markle and relocate to the United States. Her foresight regarding the unfairness of the inheritance laws meant Harry got a large sum when he felt most isolated. When Harry reached his 40th birthday in September 2024, he finally received the full remaining amount. After he resigned from his royal role, King Charles ceased providing him with any financial assistance. Consequently, Harry had to rely on the inheritance from his mother and the earnings from media deals. The funds inherited from the Queen Mother provided him with significant financial relief during that period. However, the timing of this payout highlighted some awkward realities regarding the family's wealth. While Harry enjoyed receiving millions from a relative who died when he was young, many questioned her potential reaction. Observers wondered if she would have authorized such a gift had she known about the future controversies surrounding him. Decades earlier, Princess Diana also left a complex financial legacy for her sons. When I began my public duties 12 years ago, I realized the press would scrutinize my actions. Princess Diana passed away in 1997, leaving her 2 children with a complicated inheritance situation. Those startling accusations regarding the death of the princess are now being re-examined by officials. Authorities are investigating the sensational claim that she was actually killed by agents of the British state. Her will, drafted in 1993 and updated in 1996, valued her net estate at approximately $31 million. After taxation, roughly $17 million remained to be divided evenly between Prince William and Prince Harry. However, a major problem arose regarding a private paper that the family concealed for many years. Diana had composed a letter of wishes, which was a supplementary note to guide her executors. In this text, she laid out specific requests for the distribution of her personal items like clothes and jewelry. But Diana's executors, her own mother and sister, kept this letter a secret from others for years. When the document eventually appeared during a separate court case involving her butler, the family was furious. They realized that Diana's final requests had been disregarded or changed without anyone knowing. The executors had petitioned a probate court to alter the conditions of the will regarding distribution. Most contentiously, they postponed the prince's access to their full share from age 25 to age 30. They claimed that 25 was too young for the boys to responsibly handle such a vast fortune. Therefore, they successfully applied for a 5-year extension on the trust fund restrictions. The princes were allowed to access the interest at 25 but could not touch the capital until 30. Diana also wanted her 17 godchildren to receive 25% of her chattels, excluding her jewelry. Instead, the estate administrators gave each godchild merely one inexpensive trinket from her collection. The parents of these children did not discover these alterations until many years had passed. This situation demonstrated a vital lesson about estate planning that applies to everyone, not just royalty. Although Diana's will created issues after she died, the funds she left became a lifeline for her son. Would Harry have managed to escape the monarchy if his mother hadn't secured his finances? In March 2021, The Duke and Duchess of Sussex sat down for a conversation with Oprah Winfrey. During the broadcast, Harry revealed a shocking detail regarding his financial status. He stated that after the family cut him off in 2020, he survived on his mother's inheritance. This highlighted how crucial Diana's foresight was in assisting her children's future independence. Harry explained to Oprah that without those funds, moving to California would have been impossible. The approximately $10 million he received at 30, plus interest, provided the necessary safety net. This capital covered their security, housing, and daily costs while they established new careers. Harry noted that this inheritance became vital because his father stopped taking his calls and cut funding. Harry had assumed his family would support him during the transition, but he was forced to rely on himself. He admitted that without Diana's money, he would have been trapped in a very difficult position. This freedom came with a cost, as Harry had to sign massive media deals to maintain his life. He released his autobiography, which sold well but further harmed his relationship with his relatives. Every money-making decision to fund his lifestyle invited public judgment and criticism from his family. What made this sad was that Diana had experienced her own financial worries after her divorce. She knew exactly what it felt like to be removed from the royal payroll. Her choice to leave a large inheritance was about giving her sons the power to choose their own paths. Meanwhile, the historic Spencer estate presents another complication for the brothers. Neither William nor Harry will ever possess Althorpe House, which is Princess Diana's childhood home. This massive property in Northamptonshire is where she was raised and is currently buried. Many assume that her sons will eventually inherit this significant location, but that is not the case. The Spencer family has held this land for 5 centuries and follows rigid inheritance rules. Consequently, both William and Harry are excluded from the line of succession for this specific estate. The Althorpe property adheres to a tradition where the eldest male heir takes everything. Currently, Diana's brother Charles Spencer owns the title and the land as the 9th Earl. When Charles eventually dies, his son Louis, who is in his 20s, will acquire the property. Although Charles has 3 daughters older than Louis, the rules dictate only a male can inherit. Even though their mother rests there, William and Harry can only visit as guests. The Spencer family has promised they can always visit the island grave, but ownership remains out of reach. The issue is complex because Diana never actually owned Althorpe herself during her lifetime. The estate belonged to her father and then passed directly to her brother in 1992. Diana had no claim to the home she grew up in, just as her sons have none now. This serves as a reminder that aristocratic inheritance laws often exclude family members based on archaic traditions. For Harry, losing access to Althorpe as a potential refuge likely felt like another rejection. After leaving royal residences, a connection to his mother's home could have offered stability. Elsewhere, Prince Andrew's situation regarding his inheritance has become a major financial battle. The Queen's second son signed a 75-year lease for the 30-room Royal Lodge back in 2003. The contract obligated Andrew to fund all repairs, which were estimated at nearly $10 million back then. For decades, Queen Elizabeth subsidized Andrew's lifestyle, paying for security and the mansion's upkeep. However, after the Queen died and Charles took the throne, the financial landscape shifted. Charles believes the monarchy must reduce spending, and he views his scandalous brother as a liability. King Charles has now cut Andrew's annual allowance of over $300,000. He instructed Andrew to either generate his own income or relocate to the smaller Frogmore cottage. Andrew refused, asserting his contractual right to inhabit the mansion until the lease expires in 2078. This standoff is known as the Siege of Royal Lodge. With deep disagreements between the siblings, Andrew hopes to preserve the home for his daughters as it is his last remaining asset. However, legal analysts suspect Andrew cannot transfer the lease to his children without Crown approval. Experts believe Andrew's strategy to pass down the home is unlikely to succeed. The Crown estate actually owns the building, and the lease contains strict clauses regarding transfer. Even if Andrew resides there until death, the authorities may not permit his daughters to take over. Recent photos suggest Royal Lodge as deteriorating, with visible mold and peeling paint on the exterior. The massive maintenance costs he agreed to cover are now proving to be overwhelming for him. Without his mother's funds, he is struggling to meet the obligations of the lease. While Andrew clings to one decaying mansion, King Charles manages another vast estate quietly. This second fortune operates largely unseen, generating millions annually with less scrutiny than William's estate. How much wealth does the family actually possess when all these hidden assets are combined? Many discuss the Duchy of Cornwall, but fewer know about the Duchy of Lancaster. This portfolio belongs to the reigning monarch and was passed to Charles upon his mother's death. Valued at over 600 million, it has funded British sovereigns for centuries with tax perks. The estate covers roughly 45,000 acres of land across England and Wales. This portfolio includes commercial ventures, agricultural plots, and historic structures. Recently, it generated roughly $20 million in a single year for the king's private use. Charles can spend this revenue as he pleases, though it typically covers private family expenses. The duchy is controversial because it lacks transparency and enjoys unique legal exemptions. Similar to William's estate, it is exempt from corporation tax because it is crown property. The king pays income tax on the earnings voluntarily, but he is not legally bound to do so. Some argue these ancient assets should be public property used to fund government services. This estate will eventually pass to William, adding to his already immense fortune. This means William will one day control nearly $2 billion in assets. Yet, the financial advantages for the royals go beyond these income-generating estates. There is a massive tax benefit that costs the public millions while the royals pay zero. How much revenue could the state raise if the family followed standard tax laws? One of the most debated topics is the exemption from inheritance tax for the monarch. In 1993, the government ruled that wealth passed from sovereign to sovereign is tax-free. This agreement saves the family a fortune, effectively protecting hundreds of millions of dollars. The rationale is that royal assets belong to the role of the monarch, not the individual. These properties must remain intact to ensure the continuity of the monarchy as an institution. However, critics note this rule also covers personal assets like Balmoral Castle and Sandringham House. When Queen Elizabeth died, King Charles inherited her entire fortune without paying a cent in tax. If he had paid the standard 40% rate, the bill would have been $200 million. Instead, he retained everything, while ordinary citizens lose half their estate above a certain threshold. This disparity angers many, especially during economic downturns when the public faces rising costs. The exemption also applies to capital gains tax on the $21 billion Crown estate. Although the monarch surrenders Crown estate profits to the government, the deal is often criticized. When Prince William eventually inherits from Charles, he will also bypass inheritance taxes completely. Conversely, Prince Harry, who is no longer a working royal, will likely pay taxes on any bequest. Many citizens feel it is unjust that the royal family is exempt from standard fiscal rules. An anti-monarchy group estimates the family costs taxpayers over $300 million annually. The most significant inheritance story is the widening wealth gap between the two princes. These brothers, born 2 years apart, now inhabit entirely different financial realities. Prince William possesses roughly $120 million in liquid personal funds. But including the assets he manages, his total financial power exceeds $1 billion. He earns over $30 million annually just from the duchy's profits. When he ascends to the throne, he will gain another massive income stream from the Lancaster estate. His children will live privileged lives, with the eldest inheriting the entire fortune eventually. Prince Harry's net worth is estimated at $60 million, largely from his mother's legacy. He receives no funding from the duchy, no allowance, and holds no royal properties. To maintain his lifestyle, he depends on commercial contracts with media giants like Netflix. The disparity between the brothers illustrates the inherent unfairness of the royal system. William secured billions simply by being born 2 years earlier, not through superior talent. Harry was always designated as the backup, a role that comes with financial disadvantages. This inequality has caused tangible damage to their relationship and their individual lives. William can focus on charity without financial worry, while Harry must constantly hustle for income. Harry faces difficult decisions about which commercial opportunities to accept to support his family. Every documentary or interview pays the bills but harms his public image and family ties. Some believe that without the trusts set up by his mother and great-grandmother, Harry would be bankrupt. Without the funds from these women, he would have been totally dependent on his father's goodwill. That support ended the moment he decided to pursue an independent existence. The inheritance gap highlights exactly what critics dislike about the concept of monarchy. It demonstrates how birth order determines not just titles but access to immense capital. It reveals how one sibling gets billions for existing, while the other must work for a living. Sources close to Prince Andrew say he is furious that Charles has not shared the Queen's money. Andrew, Anne, and Edward served the crown for years but received very little from the estate. When the Queen passed, the bulk of her wealth went solely to Charles, leaving the others behind. When William becomes king, this cycle of inequality will inevitably repeat itself. His younger children, Charlotte and Louis, will not receive billions from the royal estates. They will receive only what William chooses to give them from his personal accounts. This system perpetuates a class divide even within the immediate royal family itself. Should these massive private estates be nationalized and their profits used for the public good? Is it possible for William and Harry to repair their bond when billions stand between them? Please share your opinions with us in the comments section below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Also, please click the next video appearing on your screen now. You will certainly enjoy watching it.